Hello everybody and welcome back to another speed build here on my channel. I'm so excited to get back into this. I feel like it's been a while, and actually I have to kind of be honest, I recorded this video probably a couple months ago. So there's a few items that I have new to the game, a few new packs, a lot of things that have been added to my game in specific, and I just totally forgot about this video and I never got around to editing it. So I'm doing that now. With this house in particular, I don't know. I think in a way I was looking up some floor plans, but I'm not 100% positive. I did try and Google reverse image search this to see if I copied it a little bit, but I couldn't find anything that was very close to it. There were some similar things, but not similar enough. So if this is something based off of a build, I'm so sorry. I just don't really remember because it has been so many months. I know I wanted to build something in the desert. I'm not a very big desert person. After living out in Las Vegas for a couple of years, I just really don't like the desert and it was a bad time out there. So I'm not really fond of this map in The Sims 4, but I really wanted to build something, try a little bit different, get more out there in a way, like put myself out there and try something new. So I did build this 2-bed, 1-bath. In a way, it's more of an open concept, but it's more like an L shape for the main areas of the house, besides the fact of we have our entrance, so I guess a T shape. And I really like how this turned out in the end. I did have to mess around a lot with the roofing and some of the things just to get it adjusted. I did cut a lot of that out, but in the end, this is kind of what I came up with. In this house too, I wanted big, large, open windows and also more of that mid-century feel, not completely throughout the house, but maybe somebody who has more of those items or thrifts those items or goes out and finds them and kind of likes to put them in their house. It's more timeless. Same with the outside of this building. I kept with the actual desert look. I was trying to get more of the lime wash or stucco for the siding, and then the roof being the terracotta, and also this chimney. I was trying to make it a centerpiece in a way of the front of the house, and I really like how also we have 2 porches, and I also like how I added half walls to them and tried to make them look a little bit more a part of the house and less like just a random porch. For the outside, we're also landscaping, and I tried to stick a little bit with the desert theme type plants, but I know also in the desert, they love to put plants that aren't naturally there, and then you have to water them with irrigation systems, and that was a big pet peeve of mine. However, I really love the bushes and stuff in The Sims, and this is The Sims, so it doesn't really matter. Coming into the house, I did want, of course, wood. I'm a wood person, you already know that. So, of course, I'm going more with like a light orange, but bright. And I wanted a fireplace right here to be the main section of this living room. And I also wanted the wall to kind of match the outside, almost like you brought the brick for the chimney inside of the house. And there's a few times I redid the paint, redid the walls, tried to add columns, tried to take them away because I just wasn't really happy. And in the end, I landed with this fireplace here, or one of these fireplaces that you will see. And then also just I fixed the wall and kept also with some brick, but a different brick, and I think this turned out so much better, and I really love that fireplace. I'm so glad that they added it to the game. Also with the seating area, I did want a couch and a couple chairs. I'm trying something a little bit different. At the most, I might do a love seat with a couch and maybe a chair, or I might do a rocking chair or something. But in this house, I actually put 2 chairs down and I felt like it looked really good. And it helped balance the living room a little bit with all the furniture inside to where you more have a flow, a pathway on the left side of the living room. And it's kind of more confined, closed off, and cozy in a way. I hate saying cozy because I feel like I say that all the time, but it makes an open concept living room feel more homey and just closed in without being overbearing, if that makes sense. And with this lamp, I love putting little flowers down there. And also I love having a record player in my living rooms, especially if we're doing mid-century modern in a way. However, it's very hard with The Sims to have a record player that actually fits on one of their or any of their tables, console tables, anything like that. So I did use a CC one, and you'll be seeing a lot of CC in here, and I'm so sorry. I do have it, so I'm going to be using it. But later on, they did have an event, and I think I got a record player from that, so that's super exciting. Also, I really love this dining room area, but I felt like it needed some flowers with a little bit more vivid color to it, so I did put those on top. Again, they're CC, and I'm so sorry. The dining room section is very simple, very cute in my opinion, and then we have the kitchen, which is kind of cool because you have this island, and it did take me a long time to figure out if you're supposed to use the regular corner cabinet or the island corner cabinet. I don't remember even which one I used, but eventually I had it working, and I kept with some more expensive appliances, and I wasn't really sticking to a budget really to try and make this like a starter home. I was just making it exactly how I wanted or how I felt was right in the moment. And I really like these shelves on the side. I thought that brought that little kitchen section almost complete in a way, especially for that island. Then of course with the clutter, we're doing a little bit, but not overdoing it. And I feel like for once I added in a coffee maker here in a bit, or a tea maker. I don't know exactly which one specifically because I don't play with them, but I do like this little section. And then over in the entryway, I just was trying to find something to make it look like an entryway, and I feel like I used to use the season thing all the time. It came with the seasons pack, but then I stopped using it because it got a little bit overused. So I brought that back out because I just couldn't find what I was looking for. Maybe if I had that hallway entry kit or pack, it would work a little bit better, but I'm using what I got. And then finally hopping into the bedrooms. We do have 2 bedrooms, like I said, in this house. So I'm just picking out a couple different colors, and I do change them up. I think both of them, more so this one in particular. I went with the green originally, and I thought it looked kind of good, but then I felt as I went on, I stuck with the green just a little too much, and it needed a little different of color or a little more contrast in a way. So I'm doing a mix between some CC because I wanted small end tables, and EA has a bad habit of making the largest end tables in the world. So I did go with some CC ones that I felt were really cute, but I tried to match the dresser to the end tables, but not using CC. And also, I just feel like this whole little section turned out really cute, this entire room, but it's very simple. Not a lot of clutter, not a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I feel like the furnishings, along with the little decoration items, just turned out really good. Like this photo in particular was so cute, and especially with putting a plant on there, but I just felt like there wasn't enough. And then eventually I do find, I think it's from Strangerville, that pack, there is a photo that I put up on the wall, and I feel like it's so perfect because I also had this photo and I thought the horse was good, but that airplane photo is perfect. And then we go into these bookcases, and I love adding these bookcases in. I wish we had more variations of these, and I just now downloaded the Book Nook kit, so at the time maybe that would have been better, but I didn't have it, and I'm so happy I did because I do love having those bookcases, and I used to use these ones all the time, and I still probably will, but it would be nice to have different versions and also more modular type. Hopping into the bathroom, we're gonna keep it kind of simple. I changed the entire walls and the flooring a couple times, I say, but in the beginning I did choose a CC wallpaper, and we're just going in with a shower and also separate tub. And also we are doing double vanity, but not in the regular term. I'm literally doing double vanities. I haven't done this. I think I used to sometimes do it in The Sims 3, but it's been a while. So I wanted to try and stick with the seasons since I was using that tub and shower. And I think it turned out really cute, especially with this dark blue tile. I think it just looks so good. And also with that gray. Something about the gray was really calling to me. So I really like how this bathroom turned out. It is a little bit different. Like the vanity situation throws me off just a little bit, but I do kind of like it at the same time. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if you guys like it, or if you like just a traditional multiple cabinets in a row with 2 different sinks on top. Then hopping into this last bedroom, I thought about making it either a nursery or an actual bedroom, but then I decided lastly on just doing more of a home office painting area with also just a bunch of skill items in here. So we do of course have a desk with a computer, and then over here we have the painting section, just some CC items, and then of course the easel. And then I do add in later on a keyboard, a guitar, and I do believe just a violin. I wanted this to be more of a skill building room than just a bedroom, because if I were to play in this, I use usually just one sim for the most part when I start off, and I use more skills, or I would like to do more skills, and then when I get to a certain point, then I will get them to have a family and stuff like that. So I build my houses more for just one sim. And I also got this idea with using this desk, more of like a contracting desk in a way. I thought about using that bulletin board and then having it two different desks, but having it look like, oh, this is maybe one spot where I might roll over my chair and do some work on. And then I have my chair over by the computer and I can actually play on the computer. I thought that was a good little setup, or a cute little addition to the room. And then lastly, we are coming outside and we are just finishing up the porches, and I just wanted to keep it kind of simple with a chair and a plant on one side and a plant of course on the main entry. Make it a little bit more aesthetic, or just more like this is the main point. And this mailbox used to be my favorite until I got one in a life event. I wish I would have had the life event and that mailbox when I was doing this video, but I did not, and I think this turned out pretty good. So here's our final result of this house. I only have this one photo of the outside. I feel like the back and the sides aren't really too crazy. There's not much going on. You just have a lot of windows. However, this front side, I feel like it's definitely more unique. I like the two porches a lot, and I do like the chimney. It does look, it might be the angle, or maybe that one window in the middle is off, but it does look like that middle window does not have the same spacing on both sides. Like I said, it might just be how the camera is positioned. I really like the color of the house, the chimney, the bricks, everything like that. I feel like they're very similar, and then with the more chocolate brown doors and the wood throughout the deck and the columns and everything like that, I feel like that ties in really well with the windows. So then as we hop in, we're standing in the entryway, we're looking on more so towards the living room and also that dining section. It does look very crowded. I don't think I had it in the largest, most zoomed out when I was taking photos, so this is more like a realistic in a way, and you do have that pathway and you could get all the way around the table, or at least your Sims can. It's at least 1.5 tiles, so it's perfect amount, but I like how this looked. I also really like the wood tones. For the most part, we're keeping with the same wood tone. Every now and then you get a little darker or maybe a little lighter. Like for instance, the couch is a little lighter for the wood tone, but I think this turned out really good, especially having a more simple fireplace. And here is another angle of the living room. I think this is probably the best angle, to be honest. I think this is so pretty. Like standing in the kitchen, looking into the living room is so nice. I really love that photo above the record player. I really love just how this kind of came together, and I think the wallpaper was a good color choice too. It adds a little bit of color where it's almost a gray, but it has a little bit of blue to it, and I think with that rug it turned out pretty good. And then we hop into our kitchen. There's not much going on here. We just have a lot of cabinets. It's kind of small, but you can still walk in. I don't have a trash can. I am so sorry about that, but I do really like how this turned out with it just being so simple, and I really like those 2-inch shelves that came with this cabinet. I'm pretty sure these cabinets were also happy birthday, or at least what we got when it was the Sims birthday. These are probably my favorite cabinets anymore, and I've been using them constantly ever since they first gave them to us. And then standing in the hallways where the bathroom and the 2 bedrooms are, we have looking out onto the living room, the kitchen, more so the living room and the dining section, and I really love that table with the chairs and the flowers on top. I think this looks so pretty, so simple too, and I'm glad I didn't put a rug down there either. I think a rug might have been a little bit too much. And then hopping into the bedroom, I love the green in here. I do think the green walls were a little overkill with all the green that we had going on, but I really like how this tied together, and I love the wood tones. I like how the bed looks. That's probably one of my favorite beds. I just also don't use it that much because I feel like it doesn't fit in a lot of the things, or a lot of the spaces that I have. And then of course we have another angle, and I don't know why the lighting's a little bit off. So for a lot of the room, you have by the door, and then that wall where the bookcases are, it's like pure white for the walls. It's the same wall behind the photo, behind the dresser and that mirror, but for whatever reason it looks two-toned. I guess it's the lighting for the Sims in this specific room, but I really think that that photo is so perfect for that area with that plant, and also having the little alarm clock there. And I used to have, or I put on the bookshelves, I had a CC alarm clock that I was going to add, and then I remembered I had that one on there, and I think that clock looks so good, and it would have fit the vibe, but I just feel like the way I decorated the shelves also turned out really good. And I love, since they aren't identical shelves, it's so much easier to decorate them to make them look so different from each other. And then we hop into the bathroom, and it's very dark in here because for whatever reason the light was not on when I took these photos. I don't know why, because I know I had a very bright light in here, so I'm sorry about that. However, I love the blue in here. I think the blue with the white floors turned out really good, especially because they're the herringbone. And then I love the gray, almost like a clay, less of a porcelain type bathtub and sink. I think it turned out really pretty, and I love the Seasons stuff. I think the Seasons was a good pack for bathroom stuff, not fully, but at least for the bathtub and also the shower. I really love those. And then we have another angle, and these doors in specific, those are actually the happy birthday doors for sure. I remember they are called HBD doors. I think a lot of those items that they gave us for the birthday, I think those items look so good, especially those windows with shutters that they gave us, because it's more of like I was making old 1930s to 1950 farmhouses, and they were turning out so good with those windows and shutters. And I might have to make a couple for you guys, but I think those doors look really good too. They did a really good job, whoever designed them. And in this build especially, I feel like it just fits the build, where it's not like a wood door in a way where you have a white swatch and you can just tell it's a wood door. This one looks just more clean and more aesthetically pleasing. As we're getting more into the Sims, and as EA is kind of listening to us a little bit more, they're giving us better created stuff than when they first released the game, and I think it's just turning out so good. And then finally we do hop into the last bedroom, which is, like I said, our skills bedroom, and I really like how this kind of turned out. It is a little crowded, and I did want a rug, but if you could see when I was trying to place down a rug, none of the rugs looked right. They weren't the right size, or they were too big, and I just felt like they were a little impractical. Like in real life, if you're trying to sit at the desk, you'd be rolling halfway off of the rug and then being still on the rug. I just couldn't get it to size, and I don't have the tool mod, so I couldn't really size the rug to the specific size that I wanted it to, so I just left it without a rug, and I think it's fine. It's easy to clean, especially if you're going to be painting. I mean, it's a Sim, so you're not really going to be making a mess, but I really like this because it's separated, it's kind of crowded, but you have each station in a way to do a different skill. And then we have the last angle, and this just kind of shows just a little bit more of the space and more of how that little painting section is, and I love that little area. I think it's so cute. I love those items, to be honest. I do believe there is a paint kit or something very similar to what I have for CC, but since I don't have the kit, I'm just finding CC that is very close to it, or I think is close to it at least. So I'm sorry for using a lot of CC. However, since I can, I will. And there you have it. That is my 2-bedroom, 1-bath, cute little desert house that I decided to build for y'all. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you're curious on any other Sims 4 speed builds or any other building videos for The Sims 4, or I also have a playlist, I think with 3 videos in it now, for the Bookshop Simulator. I have been playing that game as well. So if you're curious about any of those, go ahead and check them out. I'll be sure to list them down in the description. Thank you all so much again for watching. I hope to see you in another video, and God bless.